Hi guys, welcome to another episode. In today's episode we're going to be concentrating a bit on wiring, but firstly I want to show you a little bit some pieces that I've done on the bike just off camera. I did fit the front fairing stay, sort of clock bracket type of thing, and the front brakes, mainly because there was pretty much nothing to do. It's just a couple of bolts and it's all together. I have cleaned up the front brakes and we've got a nice lovely lever there, so we've got some functionality to the bike for the first time in Christ knows how long. Other than that, it's pretty much left as we were. So in this video I'm going to be bolting a few more bits and pieces onto it, but I do want to concentrate on this wiring first. So this wiring here, this is the complete wiring from the bike, and we've got one problem we need to sort out with this, and fortunately it's not the rectifier plug for once. Well, that would be easier because it's only 5 wires. We've got to deal with this one. As you can see, it's had a couple of wires bypassed already. These plugs rot out and the pins snap out and the wires are all just nasty and janky, and it's only for the front portion of the loom, for the sort of front nose cone area, so it's only disconnectable there, so you can take the whole lot off in one go. But to be honest, the way I can route these, or the way I've found to route these, is it doesn't really matter anyway. You literally just got to unplug. The worst one to get to is obviously the one for the clocks, but other than that, it's just a couple of plugs from the headlights and it all comes off. So that plug is completely pointless in theory, so we're going to chop it out. What we're going to do that is we're going to solder it properly. I would be using the little rate cam sort of heat shrink solder seal things, but I've run out of them. I do sell them and I've run out of stock completely, so I need to order some more. But for now we're just going to use the normal soldering method with a heat shrink, and then we're going to do one wire at a time until this plug is completely removed. I'm going to do that on a time lapse because I finally figured out to do a time lapse properly, so that should be interesting. There's all our new plugs that we put on there before taking the loom off. So we can get on with doing this plug, and then we'll be able to get the loom on the bike, and then be able to get a few more other bits on the bike, and hopefully she'll look a little bit more like a bike by the end of it. So let's get on with it, shall we? Right, so here we are with this plug. I've stripped some of the protector back just so we can gain access to the wires a little bit easier. Basically, we want to remove this plug. Now you want to do it one wire at a time so you don't confuse yourself and get wires muddled up. Basically all we want to do is cut this wire as close to the plug as possible, because if the wire is bad you've got to cut it back and then you're going to have to add in a bit of wire. But if it's not, if it's usable, then we can just join them two together, and they do feel a little bit hard to be honest, but I'm hoping that they'll be alright. So you just want to cut the first one off, untangle it from the mess of wire that it's wrapped in. Just makes life a little bit easier when joining the two together. Strip the wire. The wire does seem nice, still copper, which is a good thing for these. Don't forget your heat shrink. Put your heat shrink on. Hold the wires opposite each other and twist them into each other in line rather than like a little ponytail. You can twist them into each other so they're in a straight line, like this. And then you use your soldering iron, bit of solder, neatly soldered, you don't need much. It'll hold it together perfectly fine. If you end up having too much, you end up with a blob on the bottom and you can't get your heat shrink over. And also don't move your heat shrink over straight away, because it will, if you do get it caught, it will just instantly start to shrink way before you want it to. And there you go. One wire bypass. Now I've only got to do that to the rest of the 30 odd wires and it'll be done. So put it on the time lapse and get on with it. Right, okay, there we have it. One plug removed. Didn't take too long. So now next stage is we'll start feeding her through the bike and getting her all on and hooked up where we can. So on with that. Right guys, just to make you aware, I completely screwed up the time-lapse video for doing the wiring. I'll put the abomination of what I managed to do in the video so you can all laugh at me, but I think I've got it figured out. I'm just using the GoPro time-lapse function, so I think I've got it figured out. So on with the rest of this and we'll see if I got it figured out or not. So let's get to that. Right, so it's a new day, quite a little while later. I got busy, you know, life gets in the way, doesn't it? I have checked out the last video I've done to see how far I got. It's basically the end of the time lapse, so you see me put on the throttle, the switches controls, and it does slightly move, so I do want to revise that, but I think for now we're just going to continue on with the rest of the build. And because I screwed up the time lapse and all that of the wiring so much, I've noticed the video is going to be really short, so I'm going to put do a few more things in this video. So we're going to mount the exhaust, radiator. I've got a few of the pipes on and stuff that I've done off camera. I've also tidied up a bit of the wiring. So it's practically on with rebuild now. This isn't, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but this isn't staying like this. This is just to hold it there while it hasn't got a back end on it. We'll sort that out later. But basically you're going to get enough on this bike now to be the next stage of doing the carbs, and that'll be in a sort of completely separate little video of a sort of like how to rebuild the carbs, and I'm going to completely go through those before putting them on the bike. So we're going to get to that stage, but rather than chucking you into another time lapse straight away and me just bolting a load of bits and pieces onto a bike, let's do the chain. So I'll set you up for that. Right, so here we have it. This is all we need for doing the chain. We've got our 520 chain that we got off our bike we broke down. I've got a link. I've got a hollow rivet link, which I find personally the best ones to use. And these are the tools we need to do it. We've got some chain lube as well. I'm still waiting on sprocket nuts. I did order some and just had a complete nightmare with them, so I think I'm going to end up having to just reorder some more. So we're not quite there with that yet, but we can fit the chain. This is the best tool ever, Whale chain riveter. If you need a chain rivet tool that will never ever break. Oh no, I've got another link in there. See, this is a solid, oh no, this is a split link, you know, the ones that you put the little clip on, which I strongly do not recommend on sports bikes, road bikes, that sort of thing. So yeah, this is it. For normal solid links, you have rivet links, you have this. So once you've set the plate on and set it in place, you put this in, you give it a good old whack with a hammer and it burrs the end of the link over with that. For solid links, for hollow links, you use this thing. which just basically goes in the hole and splays the end of the link out. Now, I have had a link explode on me before because of the grease in the hole. This puts so much compression force down into that hole. If there's any grease in there at all, it will hydraulic out and it will burst out of the side of there, and it will go with a bang and some smoke and a little spark, and you will shit your pants. I know firsthand because it fucking happened to me once. Completely unaware of the situation. I mean, I should have thought about it because I knew the rule of, you know, compression equals ignition, you know, grease equals fuel. It's gonna go bang. Yeah, it was a case of either hydraulicing or just exploding, but you gotta be really careful because I shit my pants. I thought I was being shot at, pretty much. It was fucking horrible. But yeah, so we got to be careful of that. But let's get to fitting this chain. Right, so we want to grab our chain. I literally just put it behind me. Where is it? There it is. Right. I like to do it so that on here you've got some numbers like Japan, EAPI, and somewhere it's a 520 VX3. And there, I like to put it so that's the right way up when it's on the top. It doesn't so much matter, but that's just me. I like to do it like that. So that's how we will continue. It's just a case of threading it through. Get it right there. Right, cool. Got chain on, got link, got your little grommets on, or seals, whatever you want to call them. Grease. He's having fun. Bit of grease. And remember, don't get the grease in the holes, or else explosions happen. That through there. Two more seals. O-rings. More grease. This is where you've got to be careful not to get it in the holes of the link. I'll say any grease in there, but when you time to compress it, it will explode. I know firsthand. Get our other piece of a link, pop that on there, and you need to push this on with a tool. And this is where this comes in. I'll take just this bit off, and you can use this hollow section. Do this without getting my knee in the way. Oh. Over there like that. some grips on here. Start to press that on, but you've also got to do it evenly. So now, once it's on a little bit, I'll go over to the other side of the link, like so. And you'll feel it start to go on. And you just want to repeat that until it's on. But don't push it too far. You don't want to squash them O-rings too much. You basically want the same distance between these two, so we'll measure these two in a minute and make sure that we'll push these on until these match the link next to it. Right, there we go, that's that done. As you can see, it goes on there nicely. It's a little bit tight on there, but it does go on. But you want that in a way because you're about to rivet these over. So on with that next. Right, so guys, it's fairly obvious what we do here. Just get some tension on this wheel. We have a marker system on our 6s, to anyone who's not familiar with them, and so you don't really need a vernier, but it's so much easier and nicer to use a vernier too, just to double check. You just basically want to get some tension on the chain first. I've noticed I picked up a 13mm spanner. I don't want a 13mm spanner, so I'll be right back. Right, that's better. So basically, very quickly, just want to get these adjusters out to hold the chain roughly, hold the wheel, sorry, roughly where you want it. I can't really see what I'm doing because I don't want to get my head in the way of the camera, so I'm just doing it by feel. Right, that's starting to touch. You want, with the chain, general rule of thumb on a sports bike, you want about an inch or so up and down movement at its longest point. Right, so we'll adjust this side up first to just off where it feels nice, and then we match up the other side, double check a few things, then just equal it all out. See, that's feeling quite nice now. That's about how it should be. So I will level up this side. What are we on here? Let's count how many. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're on the 7th one exactly. So I should just move over this way and do the same on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're pretty much there already. Just back it off slightly. Give the wheel a bit of a punch. Right. There we go. Check that. That's okay. That's not too bad. I think because I can just about see the 7 marker, I'm just going to knock it up ever so slightly to sort of be level with it, or just so it's disappearing. I think that'll give us that's a little bit too much, but bearing in mind it's got bed in. Well, not bed in, but things have got to loosen up. We'll leave it as that for now. So we'll get our measurer, vernier. Mine's battery's done, but so I just use it as a, this isn't a precise one at all. I use this for scratching panels and stuff when I'm welding cars and stuff. So it's not precise. It's not a vernier you'd want to use for any level of engineering. I mean, I think it was like a £5 Lidl one or something anyway in the first place. So you just want to make sure that's level each side. Something to measure it with. It needs to come out a tiny little bit. Obviously I will go over the torque settings of certain critical bolts and stuff like that, but for now we're just getting the thing built, so yeah, I'd rather not hear that, oh you need to torque this up and this and the other, blah blah blah. I do torque things up. There's a massive difference between video and reality. I'm just showing you the basics. So yes, if you're doing this yourself, most definitely torque things like axles, brake bolts, head bolts, engine mount bolts, subframe, any critical bolt. And every bolt's got a torque setting. Every single one, if you look in the manual. And you just want to, now that the axle's tight, you just want to knock this up so it's just pushing against it slightly. So it's tight, then it won't come loose. Get your lock nut down onto the side. Hold still. And just nip that lock nut up. And that's not going anywhere. And same on the other side. And last but not least, some chain lube. I use this muck off stuff. I'm trying the dry chain lube at the moment, and I thought it was going to be all powdery and stuff, but it's not. It's quite nice. It still comes out wet. The old muck off stuff smelled like pink cowpole, and it was pink as well. So it was quite nice. I always liked it. So I'm giving this little one a go. Nice liberal coating. This chain has been cleaned and degreased and all sorts of what have you, so you want to give it a nice good bit. Yeah. And there we go. Right, so next time-lapse time is going to be just putting some odds and pieces on it, you know. So we've got a radiator, exhaust, basically getting ready to the point of where I'd want to put the carbs on it. But like I said earlier, we're going to do a separate video on rebuilding and cleaning up the carbs and setting them up, so that'll be that at that stage. So, and then I think that's round about time for this video. I think, you know, we're sort of running out of time anyway, so let's get on with this little time lapse of putting the rest of these bits on, and yeah, let's do it. Right, so I think that's going to be about it for this episode, guys. We've got a fair bit done. As you can see, all the radiator and exhaust and everything is all on. Got the rear sets on, gear set up. Yeah, that one's on. So I still need to find a caliper, because the caliper off of the breaker bike had another broken nipple. So yeah, that didn't help me in any way. So I need to get another caliper. The clutch is on. The clutch is on. I did think I was recording that, but clearly I wasn't. So yeah, that won't be in the video. But it's all looking quite good now. It's all looking quite good. So the next stage, really, for this, other than, like, you know, your odd little bit and piece that's not going to be interesting for you, it's just like, you know, plug a plug in here and there and just neaten a few things up. The next major step for this is to get the carbs on, so that's going to lead us on to the next video, next little how-to video. I've dug the carbs out. They are here, they are raring to go. I'm going to be starting that video probably this evening. So yeah, there we are, we're coming along nicely. So it's going to be on with bodywork soon. We are going to run it first, obviously, make sure it will run sweet and everything, but once we've got the carbs on, then we'll get to doing its first start. I've still got to get an oil filter, I've still got to get some coolant, I've got some oil. So yeah, we ain't far off of hearing this thing run and getting on with the bodywork and wrapping her up. So it's going well, it's going very well. So if you enjoy what you're seeing and all that, then like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks guys.